Live from the Scripps Studios, this is 10 News.
Breaking overnight, a Bay Park family barely had unpacked from vacation, now forced to run out of their burning home.
A San Diego federal judge's order changing the way immigrant families are treated at the border, how long the government now has to reunite separated families.
Taking a live look downtown, where today guests at the Marriott will be greeted by protesting hotel workers.
And passengers with their hands up as FBI agents storm that plane. The hijacking false alarm that caused it all.
6 a.m. on this hump day. Welcome, you guys. I'm Virginia Cha.
I'm Jason Martinez. Thanks for joining us this morning here. And Megan, what can people expect on this Wednesday?
Oh, well, it's cloudy this morning, but another beautiful day. Very similar to yesterday, in fact. So if you liked yesterday, you're likely going to like today. We look at our South Bay sky cam. You can see the blanket of clouds down below, and the fog not as far inland because the marine layer didn't move as far inland this morning. In fact, Ramona is sunny this morning, but parts of El Cajon, Santee, Lakeside, around this may be a little foggy. Visibility's been bouncing between about 2 and 5 miles since about 4:30 this morning. So parts of the 8, the 125, and the 67 may be a little foggy. And of course, in Fallbrook, visibility, that seems to be our worst spot, less than half a mile this morning. It is 65 degrees downtown. The sun is up. Sunset this evening at 8:01. And your 10-hour day planner takes us to the 70s along our coast, 80s inland, with most areas clearing out by about 9 or 10 o'clock this morning. I will have a look at how warm it's going to be in your area in about 8 minutes. And Clean is keeping your eye on your roads. How's it going out there?
You know, so far we're accident free, so that's the good news, but we still have lots of yellow and red that's building out there this morning. So if you're about to head out the door, right now the 805 northbound starting to load up, which is pretty typical for this time of the morning. This will take you about 10 minutes to get through. That's between the 54 and the 8, and your speeds are down to about 35 miles per hour. So keep that in mind again as you head out the door. 5 freeway northbound through National City, that is slowing down as well, right around the 54. Picks up though right before the 163. Your speeds here down to about 26 miles per hour. It's still tough heading into Coronado. I have your drive times there coming up in just a few minutes, guys.
Thank you very much. A developing story this morning here. A federal judge in San Diego giving the government a deadline on reuniting migrant families separated at the border.
ABC's Elizabeth Herr is in New York with what will happen for those families now.
With more than 2,000 children still in federal custody, overnight, a judge in California ordering the Trump administration to reunite all children with their families within 30 days, return children younger than 5 to their parents within 14 days, and stop deporting parents without their children unless the parent voluntarily declines to be reunited or the parent is unfit or dangerous. The ruling in response to an ACLU lawsuit.
As Sessions, you're not welcome in our communities.
And issued on the same day, demonstrators protested Attorney General Jeff Sessions in Los Angeles. Sessions there speaking to a conservative criminal justice organization and getting some attention this morning after making this joke about critics of family separation.
They like a little security around themselves, and if you try to scale the fence, believe me, they'll be even too happy to have you arrested and separated from your children. They would like to see that.
President Trump, in the meantime, still pushing for more funding to build his border wall while talking tough on illegal immigration.
It's so simple. It's called, I'm sorry, you can't come in. You have to go in through a legal process.
ABC News has learned First Lady Melania Trump is planning a second trip to one of the detention centers sometime this week. And later today, the House is set to vote on an immigration bill, but GOP leaders don't expect it to pass. Elizabeth Herr, ABC News, New York.
Of course, we will be keeping tabs on the Trump administration's response to the judge's ruling. We'll bring you updates here and through our 10 News app.
Breaking overnight in Bay Park, a family just returning from vacation forced to run to safety after a fire rips through their home.
That fire left a gaping hole in the middle of the roof. You can see 10 News reporter Mimi Alcala is live in Bay Park. She's been tracking this investigation for hours. Mimi, what's going on now?
Virginia, Jason, fire crews were out here since about 2:30 this morning, but in the last 10 minutes or so, they did clear out of here, got everything under control. Now, the fire was mostly contained to the attic, but a fire chief tells me that although the cause is still undetermined, the family was remodeling the home, and this may have been caused by an electrical issue. Fortunately, though, the family was not hurt, but they do have a lot to deal with now. This is on Dakota Drive. Now, our 10 News breaking news tracker was here as those flames were shooting through the roof of the house.
house. Fire crews did climb on top, working for more than 20 minutes just to put those flames out. They also cut a massive hole through the roof for ventilation. Now, the husband and wife, who say they just got home from vacation with their kids, watched on as that fire continued to destroy the home. Fire officials tell me the wife did smell some smoke, then alerted the family. She, her husband, and the kids were able to get out of the house unharmed. They also did have working smoke detectors. Now, fire investigators will be here again to try to determine exactly what caused this fire to start. No other homes were damaged. We will keep you updated. For now, we're live in Bay Park. Mimi Alcala, 10 News.
Thank you, Mimi. A man is being checked out at the hospital now after police say he barged into a hotel room while naked in Encinitas. Inside that room were dozens of high school girls on a field trip. Our 10 News breaking news tracker was there as the man was being rolled away on a stretcher outside this Days Inn. After invading the room, the man reportedly jumped off the hotel's second-story balcony onto a car. And see the windshield there? Police say he may have been staying in another room at that hotel with family. He is being evaluated for any mental health issues. The girls are all okay.
We're getting a chilling look at how the man who shot 2 San Diego police officers this weekend was living. Neighbors say Joe Darwish had severe mental illness and had all but destroyed the inside of his Rolando condo. Now, these photos are from a 2017 restraining order from his former next-door neighbor.
Thrown things at the wall and at his door when I would have to walk past his door to leave, and scream at me.
Now, Darwish was convicted of assault and battery after he attacked her last year, leaving her with a brain injury and PTSD. She says that he made death threats and ripped out the drywall between their units there, even removing some of those studs to get to her.
Wow. A water-dropping helicopter grounded in the middle of a fire battle because a drone was flying too close to a brush fire in Santee. Several fire departments sent crews. Sky 10 caught the flames right here being doused from the air. The 2-acre fire scorched brush fire homes near homes last night.
I don't want a fire. I don't own much, but it's mine, you know, and nobody wants to lose a home.
The helicopter could only make 2 water drops before the pilot was forced to land when firefighters reported seeing that drone nearby.
If it hits us in the windshield, it'll probably come through and hit one of us. Or if you look up at the rotor head, any of those push-pull tubes, if I take a drone into that area of the rotor head, it's probably going to take me down.
Yeah, so dangerous. These types of incidents are becoming more common as well. Drones forced firefighting aircraft to land during the Pendleton and Lilac fires last year. Whoever flew the drone last night could be facing steep fines and criminal charges.
A mother was let out of her Santee apartment in handcuffs after her daughter was reported missing. The 4-year-old disappeared from an apartment complex about 4:30 yesterday. Now, deputies found her at a school about an hour later. The girl's mom told investigators she left the girl inside the apartment while she went out to get something from the car. When she got back, she says the girl was gone. Deputies took her in for questioning.
Taking a live look downtown, where today hundreds of hotel workers will be protesting, some of them right outside their work. Now, today's protest specifically targets Marriott International and the hotels that fall under the company's various brands. It comes as the union begins contract negotiations. Those workers say one of their main concerns is earning more money. Today's protest will be happening during the evening rush hour, so be aware of that. It begins at the Westin Gas Lamp, ends at the Marriott Marquis. There will be similar protests in at least 7 other cities. Marriott would not comment, but they did say they always negotiate in good faith.
A local second grader will be honored this morning for his invention that he calls the checklistinator. Mahir goes to Morning Creek Elementary School in Sabre Springs, and he won AT&T's 2018 Inventors Challenge. Students from around the world were asked to invent solutions to challenges in schools and communities. And Mahir's checklistinator is an electronic list that can be programmed to remind students to pack needed items for the day. Do you have your binder? Yes, I do. He says it's a needed tool at his school.
I know this because there is a lot of stuff in the lost and found section of my school.
He's cute. Today will be known as Mahir Kankapaka Day. In the city of San Diego, he'll be honored at the AT&T store in Carmel Mountain Ranch at 10 this morning.
He's only in 2nd grade. What's next?
Who knows?
So the San Diego County Fair back in full swing as we head toward the weekend. Take a look live at the fairgrounds right now. The sun is up. There's the Ferris wheel. Tonight, the Fray will rock the grandstand stage at 7:30. Now, if you haven't made it to the fair yet, the clock is ticking down. The last day is the 4th of July.
Yeah, and should be nice to be out there at the fair this weekend.
Today is going to be a nice one. We are going to see more clouds heading into the weekend, but if you are headed out to the San Diego County Fair today, the Fray taking the stage 7:30, as Virginia just said, 65 degrees. Then we'll see those clouds rolling back in then, but about 70 and sunny this afternoon. Make sure you put that sunscreen on, and if you're spending the whole day at the fair, remember to reapply. That's the trick. Temperatures up and down our coastline in the low to mid 70s today, generally in the 80s for our inland neighborhoods. El Cajon flirting with 90 degrees today, though. Escondido and Poway at 87, 76 in Chula Vista, 89 in Ramona, and I am forecasting 90 degrees in Alpine today. Temperatures will be trending downward into the weekend along with more clouds. I'll be tracking all of it so you know exactly what to expect in about 8 minutes. Kalina?
And I'm tracking your roadways this morning where we still have lots of green in North County. So if you usually take the 5, the 15, the 78, you're riding San Marcos Vista, Escondido, all up to speed right now. 5 freeway southbound from Oceanside into Del Mar, that's about a 19-minute commute. Getting a little slower out on the 52. This is westbound right around the 125. This is where we usually see traffic start to build. So if you're going to be traveling here, your speed's now down to about 17 miles per hour. Overall commute time should take you about 11 minutes to get through that stretch. And the 5 freeway northbound also slowing down through National City to about 26 miles per hour. Coronado improving slightly. We had it at about 10, 11 minutes earlier. Now it's at about 9 minutes. Still really tough, so give yourself some extra time as you head out the door. And the 15 at the 78 in our Caltrans camera, you can see some fog in the area, but it's still moving up to speed. Guys?
Kalina, thank you. A hijacking alarm triggered as a plane sits on a runway. What caused the mistake that ended with officers storming that plane?
A mother and daughter sent to the hospital after a motorized scooter crash. The safety changes their family is now demanding.
And the price is right. Why Bob Barker making a huge donation to help a donkey sanctuary just north of here.
Welcome back. A false alarm caused panic among passengers on a JetBlue plane. So while the plane was on the runway at New York's JFK Airport last night, a radio error signaled the plane may have been hijacked. Passenger pictures show everybody with their hands up as officers stormed that plane. The hijacking protocol was triggered when the plane lost radio contact. It took the crew about 15 minutes to get that back on, but by then it was too late to call off the police response. Once that started, everybody had to wait for an official all clear. The passengers were headed to LA, unclear whether they had to get on another flight.
A family vacation ruined after a motorized scooter crash sends a mother and her 11-year-old daughter to the emergency room. And now the father is begging the city council to reconsider banning scooters on the Mission Beach boardwalk. Dan DeWitt says his daughter and her mother were not wearing helmets when they crashed. The mother sustained multiple skull fractures and his daughter had internal bleeding from a ruptured spleen. Just a terrible crash. DeWitt was outraged to find out the San Diego City Council voted to reject an emergency ban on scooters on the boardwalk. He begged the City Council to reconsider.
Daughter, like 5 minutes before I came in here, she walked for the first time, so that was a big deal.
Well, both the mother and daughter are out of the hospital now. No word if the council will take up this issue again.
6:15, a powerful male voice in the Me Too movement testifying on Capitol Hill yesterday.
I wanted these survivors to know that I believed them. I supported them and that this happened to me too.
That's former NFL player, now actor Terry Crews. He told senators his story of being assaulted by a male talent agent. Crews is supporting a sex assault survivor bill of rights. President Obama signed it into law and now lawmakers are implementing it.
A model is suing a Palm Desert hotel, saying that she was, quote, massacred by bed bugs there. Sabrina Jail St. Pierre says that she stayed at the Palm Desert Embassy Suites 2 years ago. She claims a severe reaction to bed bug bites caused her pain, emotional distress, and affected her ability to model. The manager of the hotel says the room was inspected the day the incident occurred, and there was no evidence of bed bugs.
Yikes. 6:16, this is just in. Serena Williams is now seeded 25th for the women's singles tournament at Wimbledon. Her ranking had dropped to 183 after she took time off to have a baby. Wimbledon organizers normally follow that to do their seeding, but voted today to make a change. Before today, the looming decision had tennis fans split. Supporters said Williams is the best, deserved to have a high seed. Others said that would be unfair.
The price is right for Bob Barker. His foundation just bought more than 400 acres that'll soon become a donkey sanctuary. Barker, a retired game show host, has helped the Donkeyland organization before. The animals have always been close to his heart.
I grew up on an Indian reservation up in South Dakota, and I saw animals of all kinds from as long as I can remember, and among them were donkeys, and I've never met a donkey I didn't like.
The donkeys need a sanctuary because the area where they live now has lots of speeding traffic. People also go out to that area to shoot and go off-roading. Also not safe for donkeys as well. So caretakers say that they're going to lure the donkeys to the new sanctuary with food and water. That kind of thing works for husbands too. Just lure us somewhere.
Oh, food and water?
Food, yeah.
Good
pizza and beer.
Yeah,
you need a sanctuary too, Jason.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that story though. Oh, good job, Bob Barker. All right, let's show you Chula Vista this morning as we look over the marine layer. Not a cloud in the sky above it, but overcast below it and foggy in some areas. The East County and Fallbrook seem to be our trouble spots this morning, and there may be some pockets around Fallbrook where it's also kind of foggy, so near Bonsall, areas like that. Visibility is down to about 0.4 of a mile. Parts of El Cajon, Santee, if you're traveling along the 8, the 125, it may be a little foggy as well. Bastonia, Lakeside as well, a little foggy as you're heading in. And then you'll be to the clear. The farther west you go, the better it gets because it's just too cloudy. The clouds are off the ground higher. They're not as far inland. That's why we're dealing with more fog west of Ramona, because Ramona the last couple of days has been very foggy, but this morning it is sunny. So 10 News Futurecast showing those clouds clearing out most areas by about 9-10 o'clock, but you may see a few pockets along our coastline where it takes a little bit longer to clear on out, but a beautiful sunny day in store for us. Our last day of temperatures above normal before that storm system moves into the Pacific Northwest, and the biggest change you'll notice along the coastline is going to be the slower clearing tomorrow and the partial clearing we'll see Friday and Saturday, because the temperatures stay in the 70s even into next week. Inland neighborhoods slower clearing beginning tomorrow and cooler Friday and Saturday. We're dipping down to the 70s briefly because we're back in the 80s by Sunday, mid 80s next week. Overnight lows staying in the 60s. The mountains also cooling off to the 70s starting tomorrow. Not quite as hot in the deserts, but still pretty toasty in the 100s through next week. Kalina?
Well, we are slowing down right now as you head out the door. So if you're going to be traveling this morning into Coronado, the 5, the 805, that's pretty much where we see our trouble spots right now. So as we head on out, we actually do have a problem that popped up right now. It's on the 52 heading westbound right at Kearney Village Roads. This is just before the 163. A big rig here stalled out in the off-ramp. So they have that off-ramp blocked off, crews on the way, but speed's still moving nicely. So if you're going to be traveling there, you might see that in the way. 9-minute commute still heading into Coronado, so pretty slow stop and go traffic there. Also making a little bit of a dent on your commute. 5 freeway northbound through National City. Speeds here down to about 26 miles per hour. 805 northbound also slowing down to about 33 miles per hour. And we do have a Caltrans camera out in this area, 805 at Home Avenue. Speeds are looking pretty good, but just certain spots starting to slow. Guys?
Thanks, Kalina. A worker found dead in a beer cooler at a Major League ballpark. The investigation into this horrifying discovery.
Cameras capturing a choking scare at a Chick-fil-A. One employee springing into action. How he knew exactly the right thing to do.
New marijuana regulations taking effect soon here in California. How they could lead to a mad dash to the dispensaries this week.